As a natural-born empath myself, I know all too well the pitfalls that can come from not being taught how to harness the power of energetic sensitivity as the gift that it is. There are challenges that come with being an energetically sensitive person, but it's through learning how to navigate through those challenges that we can access the gifts that are connected to our unique sensitivities, and that's exactly what today's video is about. In today's video, I'm going to share my top practices and modalities that you can utilize as an empath to shift into a vibrant life of empowerment. Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Carrie, and as I said, today I'm going to share my top practices for shifting into empowerment as an empath. And so as we are getting into this, let's start by just exploring what an empath is. Being an empath or being empathic are the terms that are used to describe a person who is especially sensitive to and affected by the realm of subtle energy. This can be the psychic energy, the mental, emotional energy that you pick up from other people. It can be energy that you pick up from people because of their physical well-being. This can be energy that you pick up from like the subtle energy of environments that you're in. It can be energy that you're picking up from the earth, the atmosphere, as in, like in my example, I'm really sensitive to weather changes, earth changes, things like that. Oftentimes, empathic people feel a deeper sense of connection with the realm of the plant and the animal kingdom as well. And so being empathic is a little bit different than the common use of the word having empathy. So empathy is when our heart is going out to someone. Most people have the capacity to have compassion for a person who's going through a difficult time or a challenge or something like that. That is called having empathy. But being empathic means that you are almost extraordinarily affected by subtle energy. The way that we are wired in our nervous system literally is a little bit different than most people. And we have a tendency to feel things in over-exaggerated ways. So somebody may have something going on within them that they're barely even conscious of, but you feel it in you magnified times 1,000 as if it's your own feeling, which can lead to chronic issues with sensory overload, which is one of the main challenges that we have to learn how to navigate through. We're going to get into that in a little bit. How many of you feel sometimes like a black hole that is just absorbing all the energy that's happening around you? If you feel this way, you're probably an empath, but trust me, you're not alone. Again, learning how to navigate through challenges such as this is a part of what's going to enable us to reach the gifts on the other side. And so first, before we get into how to access empowerment as an empath, I want to talk a little bit more about the challenges. The challenges that come with being an empath can be seen as being like the shadow side, which I've been talking a little bit about in the past few videos that I've been doing around shadow work. So in the first video that I did about shamanic shadow work, I mentioned the fact that people who are energetically sensitive or people who are empathic can actually have the deepest or the largest shadow sides. This is because we're constantly unconsciously trying to stuff everything down or push it away or ignore it for the sake of self-protection. And so what happens is everything that we experience as a highly sensitive person becomes a part of our shadow side, because our way of trying to protect ourselves from it is by ignoring it, which isn't the best approach. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But here I want to share with you some of the common things that happen as like a challenge aspect or shadow aspect of being an empathic person. So number one, you have a tendency to take things personally. So what happens is, if let's say that you're around somebody who's in a bad mood, even though they might not say anything about it, because you can feel it extremely, you may have a tendency to think that this person is being in the mood that they're in because of you. It's easy to assume that okay, if I'm picking up this energy, it must be that the energy is being projected at me. And actually, it's not being projected at you. It just feels that way because you are sensitive to it. And this can really cause a domino effect that results in other unhealthy patterns, such as second guessing your choices, becoming riddled with self-doubt, not trusting your instincts. Oftentimes, empathic people will succumb to people-pleasing behaviors, including not speaking your truth or going against yourself because of not wanting to rock the boat, so to speak. Oftentimes, people who are empathic, we are hyper aware of other people's shifts in energy. And because we feel so deeply and we know how uncomfortable it is, we don't ever want to be the person who is making another person feel uncomfortable. And so oftentimes we unconsciously succumb to unhealthy people-pleasing patterns. Again, this might look like you not speaking your truth. It might look like going against yourself for the sake of keeping the peace, which ultimately in the long run is going to leave you being the one who's feeling disempowered. Oftentimes empaths mistake other people's energies as our own because we take them on. For example, this happens to me a lot. If I'm around somebody who's having some type of anxiousness or anxiety, typically when people have anxiety, it does affect their solar plexus chakra. And so oftentimes when I'm around somebody who's feeling anxious or feeling guarded, I will literally feel in my physical body a physical pain in my solar plexus chakra. And that's me picking up that person's energetic imbalance that's happening in the moment. Now, if I wasn't a person who's dedicated my whole life to learning about energy and cultivating energy awareness, you could see how it'd be really easy for me to mistake that pain in my stomach as my own. In fact, I used to do that until I learned about all these practices that I'm sharing with you. And you can see how this could really lead to sort of a convolutedness or confusion in regard to your state of being and who you really are as a person. One of the things that I see the most that empathic people do, which the intention is good, it's just not the healthiest approach. People who are highly sensitive have a tendency to keep their own energy fields really small. They constrict, they contract, they retract their energy fields as a subconscious attempt to keep themselves protected or guarded against the energies that they're feeling happening around them. But this really is sort of like the worst way to try to protect yourself, because when you're constricting and contracting your own energy field, you're going to feel small. You're going to feel disempowered. You're going to feel less significant. It's like you're trying to hide your energy. And also, literally, when you contract your energy, you are literally diminishing the way in which your own life force energy can flow through your body, which if that goes on for too long of a period of time as like a life habit, it can lead to disorders that happen in the body because of this reduction of life force energy. So one of the things I'm going to teach you in a little bit is an empowerment practice to remedy that, and this will help you to keep yourself protected in a more empowering way. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the path to empowerment as an empath. So basically, it all starts with mindfulness and energy awareness. Mindfulness meaning if you could begin practicing self-awareness around what your natural energy vibration is when you're in a calm, relaxed state of being, because that's going to give you your baseline read for the day, so to speak. And then that way you'll be able to better discern if you're being influenced by someone else's energy. So let's say that you know that you're in a relaxed, receptive, open, peaceful state of being, and all of a sudden you start feeling anxious for no reason. It may be that the person that is around you, in fact, it probably is, that a person that you are standing near is having anxiety and you're picking that up. So if you can begin a daily practice of starting each day with not only noticing what your energetic state of being is, but maybe practicing meditation in ways that support you in coming into a harmonized state of being before you go out into the world. That way, as you're moving through your daily experiences, responsibilities, obligations, things of that nature, and you're noticing shifts of energy in your own being, you're going to be more able to discern if what's happening within you is because of your own experience, which would be connected to your own experience, thoughts, and feelings, or if you're picking it up from someone else. So just, one empowerment practice is asking yourself the question, is this coming from me? Is this my own? Or am I picking it up from someone else? Then it's a matter of trusting your instincts and intuition around what your inner being is telling you about that. Is this an aspect of you, or is it something that you're picking up from someone else? If it's something that you're picking up from someone else, one empowerment practice to help clear that energy so that you don't get that sensory overload is to use your breathing to clear the energy. I like using the exhale to release energy. You can use your exhale to release energy, but you can also use it to embody energy. We'll maybe talk about that later on, but in this case, use your exhale combined with your intention to just release whatever energy is happening within you that you sense you may have be picking up from someone else that you're wanting to release. Use your breathing. Use your inhale to revitalize your energy. Maybe thinking of channeling life force energy from the universe in from the crown of the head into the body for empowerment and rejuvenation. On the exhale, you can let that energy radiate as you're releasing what you might discern as being the foreign energy that you've picked up on. Physical movement practices are really good ways to maintain groundedness and centeredness, which will lead to empowerment as an empath. So for me, I love yoga. I've been doing yoga since I was a kid. I've been teaching yoga for like 20 years now. But there's also Tai Chi, Qigong. There's other practices such as being out in nature, walking out on the land, going to a park, putting your bare feet on the earth. This is a practice that's called earthing. So you could learn a little bit more about earthing or forest bathing. These are practices that I do at least several times a week. In fact, a part of why I live in Sedona is so I can have easy access to nature. Being in nature has helped me tremendously in the realm of staying grounded and centered as an empath. So staying grounded is one of the challenges of an empath as well, because we are so easily affected by other people's energies. We have a tendency to sometimes not be grounded. We could be sort of like all over the place. So practices that are grounding are like in the realm of the top empowerment practices that you can do as an empath. So again, physical movement, whether it's, a tradition of movement like yoga, tai chi, or qigong, or whether it's dancing or being out in nature. I find that the key is finding movement practices that you enjoy doing, so that when you're doing it, it feels very soulfully nourishing to you and nurturing, and not something that you're just begrudgingly doing. So figure out what type of movement that you enjoy doing and create space in your life at least several times a week to involve yourself with that movement, whether it's with yourself, going to a class, whatever. Find ways to have movement in your life. Okay, so setting healthy boundaries. So I look at boundaries this way. And this again is connected to one of the challenges of an empath, is that we don't always speak up about our needs because we don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. So one of the empowerment practices that you can do is learn how to have comfortability and confidence in establishing healthy boundaries, parameters, and having clear agreements with people. So I like to look at boundaries more in the mindset of establishing parameters. So it's not boundaries as in I'm pushing you away. It's boundaries as in I am being aware of what I need, or I'm being aware of what my goals are, what my needs are, and I'm being accountable and responsible for being the one who's holding the space or establishing the parameters needed so that my goals or my needs can manifest. So boundaries is about you having clarity around what your needs or objectives are, and being accountable and responsible for holding the space necessary in order for those things to happen. And that could look like a lot of different ways, right? That might look like not saying yes when you want to say no. It might look like not hanging out with that person who totally drains you every time you're around them. It might look like saying, oh, I'd love to hang out, but I'm busy right now. I can't do it today, or whatever. Also having clear agreements with people, like verbally, not being afraid to speak about what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, in regard to, whatever variety of involvements you're having in your life. In work, it might look like, let's say that you get hired for a new job, and rather than being quiet about what you would prefer for your schedule to be, going ahead and saying, hey, this is the type of schedule that would most fit my needs. Do you think this is possible? You can learn how to speak about your needs and have clear agreements, or have conversations that lead to clear agreements in ways that are open and cooperative and loving and kind, without fearing that you're going to need to come across as demanding or controlling or anything like that. So I would recommend just having that on your radar and begin to practice those types of things as opportunities arise. Begin practicing what it feels like to lovingly stand in your truth and speak about what your needs are. In fact, in doing so, you're going to find that it becomes an empowerment building experience, a confidence building experience, because once you live through it once, right? Okay, like I spoke what my boundaries are and nothing bad happened. I lived through it and I feel great about standing up for myself and what I need. It's going to be enough to encourage you to continue to be on this path. In fact, for those of you who are beginning to do some of these things or are experimenting with them, let me know in the comments section how it's going for you so we can begin a little bit of a dialogue within the community around this topic. Learning how to cultivate your intuition is a huge thing that, you know, empaths can do to feel more empowered. Your genetic makeup, your skill set is all about intuition. So being on a path where you're consciously learning how to recognize your intuition and how to sharpen it and how to use it as a life-enhancing tool is going to be a huge step in the direction of empowerment. Now, the aspect of intuition is another topic that I often speak about on my channel because it's what I do as a psychic reader, and it's very connected to the soul gifts of an empathic person. So I already do have some videos on this channel that are around how to recognize your intuition, and more will be coming in the future. You know, learning about how to sharpen your intuition, learning about subtle energy in general. A good way to do that would be like starting by learning about the chakra system. And so this is something that's been a huge part of my journey, not only as a yoga instructor, but as a psychic reader and a person who reads energy. Me learning more about energy anatomy has really helped me to dial in on my own levels of awareness around what I'm being impacted or affected by as an empath. And so a good starting point is learning about the chakra system. There's tons of resources here on YouTube or Google or whatever, books, but learn about energy anatomy, the chakra system. It's going to help you to know what's going on in your own energy field, and it's going to help you to be able to realize what you're picking up on exactly when you're being affected by other people's energies. Speaking of energy, one of the most empowering tools that you can do is learning energy management techniques. So I talk about this in another video I have on my channel that's called How to Expand Your Energy Field and Be More Empowered or Feel More Confident. Anyway, I'm going to mention it here. Our energy fields, our auras, are flexible. They expand and contract as easily as our thoughts and our feelings and our moods and our physical state of being change. So it's almost like breathing. There are aspects of your aura that are like constantly in fluctuation. And so what happens with an empath is that our energy is constantly sort of shifting based on what we're subconsciously picking up around us. And so because we act as sponges, we have a tendency to allow external energetic situations determine what our energetic state of being is. That's why we end up constricting and contracting. But we don't have to live that way. What I learned from one of my teachers as an empowerment practice, instead of absorbing the energy around you, use your intention and your breathing and your visualization to radiate energy instead. The way I do it, I call it radiant glow exercise. And I learned this from one of my teachers along the way. What you do is you can imagine breathing in life force energy from the crown of your head through the chakras into the spine all the way to the solar plexus chakra. This does actually come from yoga as well. And so anyway, inhaling life force energy, and you can see it as particles of sunlight. So that's how I like to see it. Inhaling life force energy through the crown of the head, through the chakras, into the spine, into the solar plexus chakra in the center of your torso. Allow that energy to accumulate, and on your exhale, begin to radiate that energy out from the solar plexus chakra in a full radius all the way around you. So front, sides, back body, above your head and below your feet. You're inhaling particles of sunlight, life force energy. Exhale, radiating those particles of sunlight, life force energy out through your nervous system of your body and into your aura. So do this until you can imagine your entire spine is being illuminated with golden white light. Your entire nervous system is being illuminated with golden white light, and your entire aura is being illuminated with golden white light. And then you're going to begin to allow your energy field to expand. Again, using your intention, your visualization, and your breathing. Use your exhale to radiate this life force energy out from your nervous system into your aura, and begin to allow your energy field to expand in a full radius all the way around you, at least to the extent that you can expand your arms all the way to your fingertips, and maybe even beyond that a little bit. So I would say at least a 6 to 9 foot radius. Envision your aura as being that size. Just envisioning and intending and using your breathing will actually literally shift your aura to be more vibrant and more expansive. This will have the effect of you feeling more empowered in your own energy sphere, more grounded, more comfortable, more confident, and other people will begin to interact with you differently as well. Let me know in the comments as you try this how it goes for you. This is something that I do almost daily for myself, just to keep myself in a high vibration, because I am working with so many people throughout the day, and I find it to be, I would say it's my number one empowerment practice as an empath, to keep myself revitalized, fresh, grounded in my own energy signature, rather than my energy being convoluted by other people's energies. And so lastly, we're going to talk just a little bit about the gifts that come with doing this work. So as you're shifting through the challenges, you're implementing empowerment practices for vibrant living as an empath, the result is going to be accessing the gifts as an empath. So as an empath, you are a highly intuitive person. So this gift is something that you could be using at least as a navigation tool in your life, to be guiding yourself forward in the direction of your highest and best life. People who are highly intuitive like you are natural healers, counselors, teachers, mentors, and you're actually very much a leader. People who can lead not only through the intelligence field or the analytical mind, but combining that with being intuitive, actually make the most inspiring leaders. It might feel contradictory to think about an empath being a leader, but that actually is one of the gifts of an empath that we can access through overcoming these challenges. And again, the way we overcome the challenges is through working with these empowerment practices that I'm talking about. As an empath, you're naturally super dialed in to the unseen realms of life, the subtle energy realms of life, which makes you a super manifester. You have the ability to, when you want to focus your intention in alignment, of course, with what feels like your soul guidance and what feels like your highest and best ambitions soulfully. You have the intention, or you have the ability, I should say, to manifest things almost as instantly as you intend them. And so know that and begin to work with that a little bit. Things manifest based on how we have our intention set and aligning our intention with our predominant thoughts and feelings around that. As an empath, you are super tapped in to what some people call the divine matrix or the Akashic field, and you have the ability not only to extract information from the universe, but to have two-way conversations with the universe in ways where you're actually whether it's mentally, emotionally, or through envisioning or intending, you're speaking to the universe about what you're intending to manifest. And it manifests for you more easily than it can for a person who doesn't have these intuitive abilities. So this is actually sort of like one of your superpowers as an empath. Empaths also have a tendency to be highly creative, innovative, imaginative people, which of course can be utilized in many different ways for fulfillment and enjoyment in your personal life. But this also opens you up to very interesting career paths that you could take as well. You might decide to be an artist or a musician or a sound healer or a life coach. These are just some of the vocations, so to speak, that empaths excel at. Maybe you're going to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or maybe you want to write books that inspire people. Empaths are the inspirers of the world. We're the energizers of the world. We are more right-brained by nature. And so start looking at your empathic abilities in the gifted aspect. Be on your own journey of exploring what your unique gifts seem to be as an empath. Utilize these empowerment practices that I've shared with you to really step onto your journey, and let me know in the comments how your journey is going for yourself. Much of the content that I offer on this channel is meant to support people who are on their journeys of spiritual awakening, healing, and empowerment. So definitely stay tuned to this channel if you're loving this type of content and you want more of it. Get started now by hitting the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Much love.